Okay, we are live, everybody. Welcome to the 411 on 420. How's everybody doing today? Hello, say hello to everybody, Vince. We are live on Facebook.
How's it going?
Don't forget to download Life After Sports app. And so, yes, guys, I'm so excited. This is a 4-person panel today. We're giving everyone else a minute to share out on their Facebook pages. We have Portia and Jordan joining us live in about 3 minutes. And hey, Shay, how you doing, girl? Hey, girl, hey. Thank you. I just been getting text messages from family members saying I'm coming in, so I'm super excited about that. And so what we're going to be doing today, well, first of all, I'm going to tell you who I am, and then I'm going to let Vince introduce himself. So I am Candy Conda, Hall of Famer, 6-time author, and I also manage my daughter, who is a broadcast radio personality in Los Angeles, and I write books, I work with athletes, I do all kinds of things, and more importantly, we are debuting, going on year 2 in July of our Life After Sports app, where we'll be adding in workshops, and we'll be doing physical workshops for athletes, their families, and anyone that wants to take them. So with that being said, I met Vince. I just got to tell this story. So I actually met Vince probably, how many years
ago? Some years.
Years? People like you don't like to tell your age and all that?
No. It's, what, about 15?
Yeah, probably. But what's so funny is how we met. We met because Vince used to be in the app business, and he did apps for entertainers, and he did an app on my daughter. She was one of the first influencers when she worked on WGCI in Chicago.
That's
influencers right. Did an app for, and that's actually how we met. And then we stumbled into each other in Las Vegas. So there you go. The world is really small, guys. The world is really small. All right, Vince, so tell us a little bit while we wait on Jordan and Portia to come in. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm pretty much a serious entrepreneur. You know, I work with a lot of individuals, helping them with their company, working with startups, helping them build a brand, doing their marketing and advertisement. And right now I'm with a group called Parkway Dispensary for BC Cannabis. I'm this chief marketing officer. Working with them, we applied for 20 dispensary license in the state of Illinois, around the city of Chicago. And so right now I'm working with that group in that capacity. And then also I'm working with the Marijuana Hall of Fame as the founder, and trying to bring that to light, and actually recognizing, awarding those who paved the way in the cannabis industry and made a difference for the legalization, decriminalization of the plant, people being locked up, etc. And that's it, pretty much. That's what I'm doing. A full plate.
Right, and so Portia just made it, yay! So now we're waiting on Jordan. So tell me. So one thing I do want you to tell me a little bit about the Marijuana Hall of Fame, because I'm not a marijuana user. I'm one of those people that if I use marijuana, I'll be asleep for 3 days. I'll be in a mild coma. But I still want to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm addicted to Hall of Fame. So can I be in the Hall of Fame? I just want to know. I just trying to see.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Again, if you picture the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's not so much as for those just connoisseurs, but also people who made a contribution in the cannabis space. We have scientists who created and helped the cannabinoid of the plant to CBD. We also have politicians, that help champion the bills and pay the bills. Made the bills legal, the legislation passing those things. So different opportunities. Of course, people like Willie Nelson, who was a big advocate for the plant. So, it's a broad scope of people getting inducted and then into the hall.
Okay. So Portia's here. Hey, Portia.
Hey.
Good to see you today. So now we're just waiting on Jordan. You just popped in. Tell us a little bit about what you do. So I will give a little bit of reprieve. You're the first African American woman to actually have a licensed dispensary in Oregon. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
So also that means you'll be in the Hall of Fame, right?
I should be. I would think I would be.
That's
Okay,
it,
so
right? Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what you do, your dispensary, how you got the license, and all of that.
Okay, so I have the dispensary. I also have a company called Legit Trapping, as you can see, where we do educational platforms, which is actually how I met Vincent. But as for the dispensary, I received a license in January of 2017, and I've had it ever since. So we're going on year number 4 this year. And I mean, I literally have done every aspect in the business, everything from purchasing to mopping the floors, butt tending, everything in between. Because when I went out there, it was brand new to me. You stated earlier that you don't consume. Well, I don't consume either. So
Wow.
I was literally, I knew I had friends who smoked in college, in high school, but I never did. So I was just out there like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And what I learned is that it's not about me. Not just the business part, but like that was the overriding theme about being in the cannabis space for me, is learning that it's not just about me. The items that I bought for the store, I had to do that with the customer in mind. The knowledge that I've attained and the connections that I have are not just for me. It's for others that could benefit from it. So that's been like the overriding theme of this whole cannabis experience for me, is the acknowledgement and the understanding that it's not just for me. And I believe that's what's helped my success in the industry and the business.
So let me ask you this question. And this is like one of the main things, the biggest things that I want to talk about today. So everybody that, especially African Americans, and not just African Americans, small businesses, we didn't catch the first wave of this. So we want to know now, how did you go about getting the license? And I know Vince is going to talk on this as well. How do we get involved at this point? Because I kind of feel like I missed the wave, but did I?
Well, so and this is just my opinion, there's the cannabis business, then there's the cannabis industry. So you can have a cannabis business, or you can be in the industry, because there are other ways to get involved. I mean, partnering, I believe, is important. I think that's a big part of us being successful in the cannabis industry, is partnering together and working together, pulling our skills, our resources, our knowledge, our money together. And maybe even partnering some people that aren't black.
Right.
Exactly. Like my partners in Oregon are Caucasian. The group that I applied for a license with in Illinois, we're a mixed group. So although I see nothing wrong with being, completely 100% African American, sometimes you have to do what you got to do and work with the people that make sense, so that you can, grow and get bigger and stronger and learn.
And I'm not even saying so much that we have to, like you said, be just like a sole African-American owner. I'm coming from the space of, can we still get in with limited financing? And I love what you just said. Get in where you fit in. Whoever's got the money, whoever's got the resources, the juice, whatever. But I always do research before I do these, and they were saying that by 2027, this is going to be a $73 billion industry. And so I'm, that is just that's like mind blowing to me. $73 billion.
Yeah, well, I mean, think, okay, there's glass, which is like the pipes that you use, the bongs. I used to carry some glass at my shop that was valued at like $1,200. So just like
Wow.
we buy art pieces, there's people that buy glass pieces, $1,200. You don't need a license for that. You don't need to get into, I mean, artists can do that.
Right.
That's a way to get into the cannabis industry and the cannabis business without actually having to, have a dispensary or have a store. So it's never too late because
You
there's always something. There's marketing, there's labeling, there's graphic design, there's clothing, there's IT, there's construction, there's growing,
transportation,
transportation. There is
security.
the person who sells the lights. Somebody has to buy those buckets. Where are you getting the buckets from?
I
All the
want to be the person that takes care of the money. They say that the money smells bad. I want to come up with a company to watch the money. That's I'll be happy to do. If I could just do that, I'll be happy. Okay, guys. Before we go further, wait a minute. Jordan just got in. Let's introduce him. I don't want to leave him. I call him Jordan Hustle, but his name is actually Jordan Eversley. But I also have to say, guys, all four of us are from Chicago.
That is true.
That's crazy. All of us are from Chicago. Portia's in Oregon. Vince is in between Chicago, Vegas. I'm in Vegas. Jordan's in LA, but we all originate from Chicago. So for everybody in here that's watching, that's from Chicago, guys, be happy that we are repping for you guys today. Jordan, tell us what.
I have to say this. I'm originally from Kankakee because my mama will get on me. Come on, you know. I don't need them problems. So I'm originally from Kankakee.
For today, we're gonna grandfather you in today.
All right, I'll take it. Southside.
Southside, that's right. Okay, Jordan, go. Jordan, your mic. Turn your mic on.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. My name is Jordan.
It happened to Diddy. It happened to Diddy.
Okay. I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised, living out here in LA now. I'm the marketing director for a cannabis company called Amenta Medicinals, which is out of the Bay Area. The owner is actually my college roommate and football teammate, and gave me a call about a year ago, told me what he was getting into, and asked if I could bring some of my relationships from the entertainment industry into this industry. And we've been making money ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from the LA standpoint, what is it that you do on a regular basis? Are you providing? Portia has a dispensary. What is it that you do? I mean, we want to get down and figure out what is it that you do. How do you make money in the industry?
Well, initially, I got in solely under the marketing aspect because I didn't know anything about. I knew I was in LA. I smoked a shit ton. I mean, a ton of weed, but I didn't really know anything about the licensing and how that worked. So I really just spent time. I would say up until about 2 months ago, everything for me was just understanding the brand and what they wanted to do from a social media standpoint and a media standpoint. And then I've used this time to learn about licensing, to go ahead and get my paperwork filed so that I can now cultivate, get product into dispensaries, and then just individual product that we have available that's able to go out to different areas. So for the most part, just social media marketing, getting brand awareness out, making sure that any festivals that I was a part of initially, that we're a part of those festivals, Cannabis Cup, and really just making sure that the awareness of the brand is everywhere it needs to be as I'm still figuring out what I want to do from a cultivation standpoint.
And that's important what he does. That's important because with cannabis still not being like federally legal, you can get flagged a lot if your social media is not, within certain parameters. And you can get your page shut down.
For sure.
So it's really important that, knowing those ins and outs of social media when you're marketing for cannabis.
Oh, really? That's good to know. So what will get your page shut down?
He can go.
Anything that's not licensed. They're not big on consuming either. It's not a thing where you can sit back and just have videos and content of people smoking.
Kind of.
And then anything that's being promoted for sale has to be regulated. If it's forgot what the term they use out here. Metric. Yes, everything has to be. Everything has to be by metric. So if it's even worse than the restaurant game. So in the restaurant game, you have a sign that's a quarter of an inch too small, they can shut you down. It's the same thing. So we've actually had to draw back even from some of our social media promotion due to what's happening right now. Because if you can't send anything out, you can't promote that you can. So you can't promote that certain things are available. If certain strands haven't been able to be identified and regulated, you can't put those on social media. It's real nitpicky. It's become more nitpicky than it even was when I first got on board.
You can't put a price, so you can't say we're having a sale on $35 ounces.
Nope.
Like a dollar sign, shut you down.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
And and the tricky thing with us is we have merchandise as well. So we have hats, hoodies, T-shirts, lighters. So it's been difficult, especially from the top. So when we have our staff meetings, I can just hear how much pressure these guys are under.
So Vince, can you pipe in? I know at one point you were putting together some groups, and I know you're marketing for one company, but at one point weren't you putting together some groups of people and trying to help them from an advocacy standpoint?
Yes. Right now, the dispensary group that we have is a 4BC Cannabis Parkway Dispensary, and like they said, me, CMO, and not just marketing, but being able to know the compliance rules, the do's and don'ts, and being able to channel that not only through social media, just really the internet as a whole. But then, like you said, you got to be very careful, the licensing part of it and getting a building. You got to make sure that the building is a certain amount of feet away from any schools, any daycare. So it's a lot of little things. Like Illinois just introduced that they no longer want any of the companies to have any type of image of a leaf, marijuana leaf, period, on any displays throughout the city. If you're displaying your sign out there, your dispensary sign, it cannot have a image of a plant. So that leaves a lot of people that already had those logos scrambling and trying to figure out, okay, got to revamp our logo, we got to redesign it. So there's a lot of, you got to stay up on it. You really got to stay up on the rules and regulations and the compliance.
And so speaking of that, how do you keep up with all that? I mean, especially because I know you're working in Vegas and Chicago. So, and I'm sure between Vegas, Chicago, LA, Oregon, places like that, they have different rules, regulations. Is there like a national, I know it's not federally legal, but is there like a national?
No.
Or you gotta be savvy and
no.
on your game, huh?
Listen, Oklahoma is different. Oregon is different. California, Colorado, Illinois, everybody has their own positioning of rules and regs. So really what the bottom line is, and what I found, is you got to do your homework. This is not an industry where you just sit back and think that the knowledge and the information comes to you. You got to go out and seek it and get in those books as well.
So what does this new law do for Chicago, though? I mean, for Chicago small businesses that's still trying to get in here, what does this mean for us? I'm saying us, like I'm getting ready to do something, but maybe, you never know.
Are we talking in terms of the leaf representation?
No. We were just talking about the fact that now Chicago has opened it up. Is it going to be, I don't want to use the word easy, but is it going to be doable? Or is it, is it just going to really be doable because I talked to a lot of people that tried to work with the Chicago market and it just didn't seem as easy as they thought it was going to be. So Vince, you're on the ground there. I'm just saying, now that you've been in the trenches with this, what's the possibilities, or what are the steps that Chicagoans need to make now to get in the market to purchase?
Well, I think kind of at the event that we did with Portia, she came in and did a thing about dispensary compliances and the rules and regs and the trials and tribulations that she went through. But what I found throughout a lot of times at these events is, if you do not have a team, you might as well forget about it. And it's not to discourage anyone, but trust me, 2 people can't do this. 3 people is going to be very difficult, can't do this. 4 people, again, it's going to be difficult, can't do this. You have to have a team. And I say, that's anywhere between 5 and above. And if the not so much the more the merrier, but you do have to have a strong team. And so that's going to require like 7, maybe 9, 10 people.
So Portia and Jordan, what do the people on your team do to make it happen for you guys?
Ladies first.
Okay, sure. So we have someone on our team. We have someone that is familiar with the laws. So we have an attorney. We have a former judge. We have someone who has a grow in another state, so they're good with cultivation. We have myself, who has an own dispensary. We have someone who specializes in real estate. We have someone that specializes in compliance. And they stay on top of the rules and regulations, and they send it out to the team and keep us updated on things that are going on. So as we're doing our task, we know that we're in alignment with what we need to be doing.
Okay, awesome. Jordan?
Same here. Obviously, Mr. Poole and Jerron are the CEO and COO. We have a lawyer or a law team. But what's interesting about California that I've seen, and I kind of knew it was going to be sketchy in Chicago, at least for the first 2 years, it's all relationship based. So if out here, while everybody's still figuring things out, you have people that share information. You have people that, make sure that other people in their friend network has the same access to certain paperwork or certain legalization protocol or anything. So you find people that, one owner of one company may be on the phone 2 or 3 times a week with an owner from another company, making sure that the teammates that you're adding on are fulfilling the needs that the whole company needs. One person can't fulfill every single need. 2 people can't fulfill every single need. And you have to have a network of people that share information. That's the biggest thing, is because people, especially in Chicago with anything, people will get information and then they'll hold it close to chest because they don't want to lose whatever their position is. And I've seen that kind of happen already, even from sponsors, Illinois sponsors that we've brought in for different events, whether it was All-Star Weekend. People were fighting tooth and nail for every little thing that they can get, every little bit of exposure, any athlete name that can get tied to it. And it didn't seem like anybody was working together. But if you come out here, you'll find companies, even down to some of the San Diego companies, will work together to make sure that product is being, distributed in one city or the next. So I would say making sure that you break down what your hierarchy looks like, or what your employment chart looks like, and making sure that everybody not only knows what their job title is, but what their assignment is day in and day out. That's the biggest thing, because it's so easy for something to fall through the cracks.
And Vince, since you're in Chicago and Vegas and LA, I see at some point it seems like you guys should put together some kind of network to help navigate this.
As soon as we're off quarantine, as soon as we're out, I've got campaigns lined up with Backwoods and the cigar companies. So anything that I can be, man, call my phone and let's go. As soon as we're off quarantine, I'm ready to light the summer up.
And
I'll be giving you a call.
To that point, like he talked about the All-Star Weekend and just in general. I mean, I'm constantly hitting Portia up probably too many times.
No, you
Because I know
good.
she's busy, but I'm constantly hitting her up, asking her for information, advice, because it's important that we, elevate each other and share the knowledge and don't be afraid to ask. I mean, if I don't
Sure.
know, I'm going
Mhm.
to ask someone that do, and I'm not going to act like I know everything and be ashamed of it. I don't care if somebody see it on social media, whatever. We have to help each other. Everybody has a certain level of skill, a certain level of information, a certain level of experience. So I think in Chicago, that has to take place. If it doesn't, it's going to be constantly just, a fight for information.
I've
And
talked
it shouldn't have to be that way.
Right. I've talked to 10 different people in Chicago, and everyone seems to be at the same level and say the same thing over and over. And I'm like, you guys are there. Why, is there no one that, will either share information or take the advocacy point? And I guess, like I say, everybody wants to be on top. Nobody wants to go first. And we got to stop that if we're ever going to succeed.
Well, I think part of it also, I jokingly, again, since I'm from Kankakee, I didn't grow up in Chicago.
Right.
I didn't really meet Chicagoans till I went to college. And so I always jokingly say Chicago's a city of haters, because that's been my experience as an outsider. And I think we just need to change that. But I think part of it is the city and how they have their laws and regulations set up, is that they almost make it like a dog eat dog kind of competition kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The lawmakers sort
you
of
have to expect that, though. It's we're looking at people. You even find guys that are leaving the diamond industry to get into the cannabis industry. You're looking at individuals that, if done right, and if your team is built the right way, you're looking at the potential of $1 billion within a decade, and that's unheard of. So the people that have the most power, you got to expect that they're going to make it as challenging as they can to get into this new gold rush or green rush. You know what I'm saying? But that's the point. That's the point I'm making. Is it goes down even into identifying, especially in Chicago and Illinois, identifying the young lawmakers. Who are the young state reps? Who are the young aldermen? Who are the people that, because they're from this world and they're from these age demographics, that they care about this issue? You got to tap in with them too, because instead of you having to go find 10 people, you may have one person you can call that has the next 2 or 3 numbers that you need for you to get that information. And that's what breaks down a lot in Chicago, is there's that whole neighborly division. It's like, I don't want to talk to the restaurant. If I own a restaurant, I don't want to talk to the restaurant owner on the same street. Or if I'm a club promoter, we don't like those club promoters. And this isn't an industry where you can do that. There's too much money at stake to not go out. We're talking closing generational gaps off of something that's natural and off of something where, if we're just in tune with the timelines, if we know in X amount of time we have to have this information and we can go and break down who we need to talk to, then we'll start looking at the market changing. But it's going to be a crap market. Illinois is going to be a crap market for at least the next year.
Definitely. Sure. Yeah, definitely.
So, yes, there's going to be a lot of growing pains, a lot of miscues. But I really believe that the way to do it. I know for myself, and I know I see other people that really, like she said, take this really serious, is to build those relationships. And this is not a I game, me game. This is not about me, like Portia was saying. It's about the community. It's about the veterans. It's about the patients. It's about, people that want to enjoy a recreational experience, and that's the thing, to be able to put the culture and the corporate side and be able to have those two function in a way where a lot of things can get done, and it's not all the corporations are going to take over. We need the corporations, and it's not like, okay, the culture, they don't like us. You need the culture, and so being able to let the CEOs know that, the culture matters. You have to get down into the communities. You got to be able to give back. You got to be able to know the people, what I'm saying, that you're dealing with, and not just, think that you're going to sell them cannabis and that's it. You got to know the people that you're selling to.
Right. And just like I was sharing with Vince yesterday, I'm a veteran and I have to make a decision between having my pain medication for my leg that I had surgery on. If I had to sign a pain contract and I can't have any CBD in my system, they do urine drops on me every other month. And if I have any type of THC or CBD or anything, they'll take away my pain medication. I don't think that's fair for me not to be able to use CBD on my leg.
That's interesting. That's a good segue. Hey, that's a good segue into now the magic word in cannabis is essential.
Right.
Voila. Here we are now. This is part of an essential item during COVID-19. Yeah. So that says a lot. So I think these, laws are going to change. And I think this is the opportunity now for us to really put pressure on the government to say, hold on a second. During this virus and this crisis, we were still able to go out and get our cannabis as part of our, patients' medication, as part of treatment, as part of wellness. So now let's change the game.
For sure.
So why was it essential? Why was the answer? I mean, I know because I've talked to you guys, but tell everyone else, why was the cannabis essential business for COVID?
I can speak to this directly from I have a health issue. I have thoracic outlet syndrome, which is I have two ribs that grow vertically over my rib cage, and I found this out while I was playing college football. I found out the year before my senior season, so I ended up not playing my senior season because I had been risking paralyzation. But I also didn't know where my depression was coming from. And the depression is a side effect of thoracic outlet syndrome. So the first thing, once I got out of college, the first thing that I did was start looking up medical marijuana in regards to my individual case. And I can just say if it wasn't for CBD, RSO, or even THC to a point, my attitude would be different. My sleep patterns would be different. I would say my conflict resolution skills would be off, because when you're dealing with a physical ailment, not even mental, if you're dealing with a physical ailment that plays with your nerves, you don't know what is going to happen in the middle of the night if you lay the wrong way, or if you wake up in the morning and you sit the wrong way. So I can say from a physical standpoint, it's a necessity, because there are people that genuinely can't go through their day-to-day life without having this, whether it's tincture or whatever it is. There are people, especially out here, that cannot live the day-to-day life. The other issue is a mental issue. You don't want mental health taking any more of a hit when you have something that can help it. So
that's right.
That and capital. It makes it's too much money to be made. There's too much money made to shut it down. It's like shutting down CVS right now. Like, there's too much money going in the pot and too many new people paying for licenses. Licenses are like $4 million, so they're never gonna,
So Portia, how has this experience been for you during COVID? What has, I mean, I'm sure you're doing business, but how has this overall experience been for you? What is your experience during COVID and being open as a dispensary?
It's actually really hasn't changed. It's it's moving right along. We do have, we're cleaning more. We're cleaning a lot more.
Okay.
Lysol and spraying things down. Some people, Oregon has now allowed us to serve people in their vehicle, so like they can place their order and we can take their items out to them and then take their payment and then bring it back in. So they've allowed that, but most people are still like, long as you wipe down the handle, put a mask on.
we saw you with your wine. You didn't even offer us.
That's my cannabis wine. That's my 2016 my 2016 Sauvage that I've been
Okay.
sitting on for a little bit. So I figured I would open it up today for the panel.
All right then.
Yeah.
But people are still coming in. They're not scared. They are not scared. At least in Oregon, they aren't. They still need it. Like he was saying, for some people, it's not just. I mean, some people do it because they enjoy it, and that's fine. But some people need it.
Right.
They cannot sleep without it. They cannot walk without it. They can't. Their marriage wouldn't. I tell people all the time, like, especially people who are totally against it, like, oh, that's so horrible. I'm like, you have no idea how many marriages stay together, how many Christmases have not been ruined because somebody ate an edible and was like, you know what, I'm good now.
That's funny. That's funny. I want to ask you guys about, what do you think that with 420 being tomorrow, today's probably the celebration day. We know that, what we're up against with quarantine, but how do you guys think? I was reading an article from the mayor of San Francisco, who normally has 15,000 people on Hippie Hill. She was like, do not come here this year. We are not doing this. So what do you think? How will people be celebrating this year, especially like the last year? One of my clients was doing a build out here across from the Sahara, and he had $100,000 budget last year to build out an event. Snoop was Wiz, everybody was supposed to be performing. So I'm thinking now, what are people gonna do? How are they gonna celebrate? Jordan?
Like right here, they're gonna get on Zoom, get on Facebook Live, and make it happen. Now, like, hey, there you go right there. In the privacy of your own home, light up. As we like to say in the Marijuana Hall of Fame, smoke me in.
Well, some of the out here, something that's been happening recently is they're starting to open up parking lots. So we're trying to check if the ocean parking lots are going to be open. But a lot of the parking lots in front of like scenic views have been opening recently. So people have been doing date nights there. And then cigar companies that I've seen recently have been doing their cigar sessions in these parking lots. So I think
what about the social distancing part of that? How is that?
It's 6 feet. Car to car is 6 feet.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah. So but I think out here it's a lot more of it's a lot less of a legal situation. So there'll be some people outside smoking. There'll be barbecues. It's 75, 80 degrees out here. So people will still be in their yards smoking. But I think being online, like Vince said, I think these Zoom joints, I think the artists being in studios, I think you're going to see a lot of, even down to Snoop and Wiz, who I've talked to both because of my family on Crenshaw, they're both going to do Instagram lives smoking. Snoop is actually DJing a concert tomorrow on Instagram Live. So I think the internet is going to have to hold it down,
And thank you guys for working with us. I know this was new technology, but y'all worked it out. And it's amazing. Y'all worked it out. Everybody's here.
You a trendsetter,
but you know what?
You got us on board, man. You the trendsetter.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I was gonna say. She called me yesterday and said, Vincent, I want to do a live streaming cannabis event. I'm thinking maybe a week from now or whatever. I want to do something 420. I said, when? She's like, tomorrow. I'm like, uh-oh. I said, I know one person I could call. If she's available, she's dependable. And so thank you, Portia, for your time. And then she mentioned you, Jordan Hustle. She's like, let me get on the phone, Jordan Hustle. And here we are. We made it happen.
And something I want to say.
That's and that's the important thing.
Wait, Jordan first and then you, Portia.
No, I want to say this to you guys. So what we're focusing on at Amenta right now is licensing. So if you guys have anybody that's serious about coming out here, spending 2 or 3 days with us, figuring out the license the licensing process, and has the capital to get their license, we can move it at 2/3 of the cost.
Okay.
So I want to come back to that question, and I want to mention something that I said to Vince last year. Portia, you first, but I want to come back to you, Jordan, on that, Because I want to talk when you say, I want to know what money you talking about. I want you to say it all loud. Okay, but I want to, Portia, go ahead first, babe.
Oh, I was just saying that, in the cannabis industry, in life, the only things that are constant is change. And in the cannabis industry, it changes all the time. Things change all the time. So you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to do things last minute or, with a very short time frame and not get frustrated and not get upset and learn to go with the flow. Blessed are the flexible so they should not be bent out of shape, because you have to be able to move around. And if you're the kind of person where it has to be strict, well, we've always done it this way. This is how business is done. If you have that mindset, cannabis is not for you. So if you are not the kind of person that can look at a new idea and be like, you know what, let's try it.
Yeah.
If you're not that person, you may want to rethink some things, because that's what cannabis is.
It's a hurry up and wait industry as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of, we need this right now. We need this right now. We need this right now. And then when you're ready to go, it's like, wait a little longer. Yeah. Wait a little longer. So you have to be able to, push yourself. As with any other business, I would say, man, this is like opening a hotel. I feel like from just knowing everything that you have to do, and the patience is everything. Being patient is key, for sure. Portia's absolutely.
So I'm not going to let you off the hook, Jordan. First of all, make sure you guys, everybody on here, make sure y'all download our app. We actually have 40 workshops going on our app. We have a CBD workshop for athletes on our app as well. So, and there's advertising. If anybody wants to advertise, I'm throwing that out there. Every workshop has advertising capability on it. But back to you, Jordan. I'm not going to let you off the hook with, if you want to come out here and start a business, we can help you. What kind of money we talking about, Jordan? I'm in my checkbook. I'm going to see how my checking and savings is set up. What you talking about?
In all honesty, I would say this would be no different than looking at purchasing a house, from the low end to the high end. I've seen
LA house or a Chicago house?
Well, I mean, it's not that far away. LA and Chicago ain't too separate. But I would say, you're looking at a few $100,000 upward to a few $1 million, being able to get everything going that you need. Realistically, I would say.
Okay.
But you can come out here. You can get certain certifications for $10,000, $12,000, $20,000. I got my feet wet with like $8,000. I went and made sure that most of my licensing made sure that I was a part of the company, made sure that I was on the license. So if I bring anything from the Bay to LA, everything is fair. But even that cost me a nice chunk of money to even be on the low end of the professionalism of it all. But if you're looking, I would say, these guys that are, a part of street organizations, these guys that have that capital, and these guys that have those discretionary funds, I would look at getting into this as opposed to going to purchase a club or going to purchase another building. I would take some of that bread and put it here.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. It kicked me out.
Okay, sorry. So guys, before we wrap up, I want to make sure we went over everything. We did talk a little bit about veterans and athletes. I'm a veteran. I'm hoping that there are, that's where my interest is. I want to make sure the veterans, they're constantly fighting, to get the medical marijuana, get on board with that, and so if it's anything that you guys have that I can pass on to my veterans, I have a lot of little veterans groups that I'm in, that would be helpful. If anything you guys have for the athletes that they can or can't do, we do have some information right now on which sports allow, which professional sports and which college sports. Hold on one second, Jordan. They allow THC, and as they're coming up, we're updating our workshop on that as we're getting info. But if you guys have some other additional information, please share that, because our workshops are getting ready to hit the app really soon. And we got 40 workshops, everything that they need, and we really want to be up to date on the cannabis side for our athletes. And then, like I said, just people getting into business. I love what Portia, how she started with the list of different ways that people can be involved. Go ahead, Jordan. I see you ready to go.
No, I was just going to say, I love that idea, the app idea. And I think with everything that's happening with professional sports, like I said, I played college football. And one of the things that we're looking at doing is reaching out to our collegiate relationships, whether it's through their botany department, or whether it's whatever department we choose to go through, and it may just be through the university itself, to take some of these workshops that you may even have and actually take those into the schools and onto the campus.
Of course, that's what this is all about. Every single workshop we have that's on the app, if we are doing actually in real life in real time, and we're going to add professionals, athletes, whoever has a special you see what I'm saying, knowledge and expertise. We'll be bringing them with us so that we can educate people as we go along. We have a question in the chat box that says, any conflict or issues with people on staff using? So when you say on staff, Hurley, I'm not quite sure what you mean. It says
I get it's probably a question for Portia with actually having a dispensary. I think that's what he's asking about, people maybe using while they're on the job. I think that's maybe what he's getting.
Maybe that is what she's asking.
Yeah.
She.
Yeah. So staff can we don't drug test. Staff can use, but not at work. I mean, it's still a job.
It's still a job.
You still need to be on your P's and Q's. And and I hate to take it to this extreme, but if somebody comes in with a gun to rob you, you need to be of clear and sound mind to do what you need to do. You still need to be able to work the cash register. It's still a job. It is still the cannabis business. This is not you just come in and live life how you want to live. This is still a business.
Right.
So when you do business, you need to handle your business. Now, what you do off of the clock, totally totally not my concern. So while you're at the shop, while you're working, while you're representing us, you cannot partake unless you have a medical card and there's a medical reason, and you can do it for that. But then there has to be a designated area and a designated space out of the front of the public. There are rules and regulations that the states set as well for those that have medicinal cards. Right.
And are you so what about the money part, the cash? You still can't do bank accounts in Oregon? Is that a national thing?
That's
is that for everybody?
I mean, well, at least in Oregon, there are two credit unions actually that you can bank with, but their charges are so extravagant. It's $500 a month to maintain the account, plus 4.99% of everything you deposit.
Shut up.
Yeah.
So where do you put your money at?
Well,
I'd have to kill you if I told you. No,
right.
but for the actual company, we have safes. We have safes on site. We have safes on site, but
today it's Sunday, y'all.
We have safes on.
No, I think Vince or Jordan was going to say something.
No. What she said, they have safes on site. But I did want to just go back real quick, about the lady question, because people always come up to me and say, okay, it's legal recreational in Illinois. But then again, you do have to check with your employer. Obviously, if you work for Boeing, if you work on airplanes, you cannot have that in your system. I mean, certain jobs, bus drivers, certain jobs, you just can't indulge in cannabis. You have to be very careful. They're going to test for that. So you got to find out what the policy is, because I hate for people to lose their jobs, and not only that, it's people out here that has no criminal background, no incident whatsoever, and have walked on their job and got tested and not only lost their job, but then also the stigma behind it, that that will carry on maybe to the next job, you know.
Right.
So you got to
Mhm.
be very careful of what your employees or what the employees, you know, policies are.
So my daughter came in late. She's asking how are the sales affected with COVID? And Portia says that sales are great and everything is going forward. And Denny, I know you're in LA with Jordan, and he says they're getting ready to celebrate 420. Where are they celebrating, Jordan? He said no, they're getting ready to celebrate like ain't nothing happening. Jordan, where do you say they're celebrating at?
Parking lots,
Parking lot.
in scenic view parking lots. And then we're checking to see if the parking lots on the ocean side are going to be open.
Okay. So if someone in here like seriously is thinking about a dispensary in one of these areas, you know, what should their first step be? I want to kind of like, before we get off of here, I want some like concrete answers. What's step one? Step one is what?
Know the market.
I'll say this: in Oregon, they are not giving out any new licenses.
Yep.
So you cannot apply for a license in Oregon right now. What you would have to do is purchase from someone an existing license.
Okay.
So that's Oregon.
What?
That's what I was saying about the licensing. So you can come to us to go through that licensing process if you can't go through the state.
Okay. And Vince, what about Illinois? Where are we now with Illinois?
The first round is over, you know, supposed to be May 1 that they're going to make the announcement of those who will receive their license. You know, that's probably going to be pushed back because of COVID-19.
Yep.
But that's what we're anticipating, May 1st, not May 9th, May 1st. But then there will be another round. So maybe those who don't get their license this time will probably be better prepared for the second round. So right now, the gates are open. But like she said, you need to know the market. You have to know the market. You got to know what you're getting into. This is not easy. This is not for everybody. The glitz and glamour of smoking or vaping, that's great. But when you get into the business of cannabis, it is a business. And like she says, a difference, business and industry. Woo! You need to know both.
And to piggyback off of Vincent, for Illinois, if you missed the first round because applications were due January 1st, there's probably a good chance that some of the people that will be awarded licenses will be looking for investors once they're announced. So
everybody's looking for investors right now.
You know, so that's an aspect someone could think about as well. And then I would also suggest, if they can't get into a dispensary, watch. Okay, I'll use Illinois for example. You know, you have the this year we're not doing anything, but this actually is a good time to watch and to see where those spaces are in the industry. Is it? Are you noticing that when you go to the dispensary, they're always out of packaging? They're always out of bags? Are you noticing that people are always out of papers? Are you noticing maybe the lines are really long and you can maybe come up with a solution for that? If you didn't make the first round, I think watching the industry and watching what's going on where you live, like physically going to these stores, talking to the customers, seeing what's going on and seeing where the spaces are.
And basically you're saying just kind of maybe create your own, you know, your own lane inside of this instead of trying to jump in where, you know, this other part that is already taken off. Someone's asking, how did you guys learn so much about cannabis and the industry? So how did you guys learn? Jordan, Vince, how did you guys learn about it?
I mean, I've been an avid consumer for years, and for me, it made sense. I mean, it's like with any other business to me. Like with clothing, I bought a lot of clothes, so I wanted to get to a position where I would get clothes sent for free, and I wanted to know, with looking at how the green rush was transforming, even when I was in college, looking at how, you know, people were becoming a little bit easier on smoking weed. I wanted to know how to be in that first group of people from my city that took advantage of the business aspect. I saw how much money was in it. So I just figured out what I had to do in my first 6 months working to know how to kind of put my feet and set my feet in stone in this game. So it's learning, it's asking questions, it's not being scared, it's finding other professionals, it's a lot of reading. It's all of the above. If you're looking to be a millionaire or a billionaire in any industry, you're gonna have to study your ass off. There's no fly by night in this industry. It's all information. You got to go get the information, and then what you do with that information and how fast you do that, you use that information, is also very, very pivotal.
So two things. One, I wanted to say, I talked to Vince last year about doing a workshop. I do workshop series. That's my thing. So I talked about maybe doing a traveling workshop to different cities to kind of see what people are doing in different cities and putting the star players in that city together so that, you know, there can be a bigger network. Because just trying to reach out online and things of that nature, you're going to meet a few people. But I would like to do that traveling workshop, Vince. I'm going to throw that back. We talked about that last year a little bit, but I'm going to throw that back on you, you know, when this lets up, is to do a traveling workshop series around the country, maybe bring in an athlete, you know, an influencer, entrepreneur, each one of those, a dispensary owner, and have those conversations, and then have some people in there that can invest some money as well. But, you know, at least kind of circle the wagons, if you will, on another level.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. You know, I'm all for it. You know, just like when I worked in sports marketing and worked with the athletes. You know, Jordan will tell you this: athletes, they want to be rappers. Rappers want to be athletes. It crosses, you know, and they both engage in cannabis experiences. You know, both industries. So it's just a way of being able to combine the two. You know, I always look at it being real respectful about the plant, being able to, you know, treat it. Whether you indulge or not, but being able to do, like drinking responsibly, being able to smoke responsibly or intake responsibly, because that's important. Because, you know, even though it's legal and stuff like that, the laws are still, the federal laws, the laws are still out there to, you know, try to bring the stigma down and discourage. So got to be careful.
So I have one last question for you guys, and then after that, I'm gonna let you all share a last word about the industries. It can be information or whatever. So my last question for all of you guys is, where do you guys think we stand with inmates that were, you know, in for marijuana, smaller, lesser marijuana offenses, and now with it being legal in a lot of states? Where are we? Where do we stand with them trying to get them out of jail? Is that something that it sounded good with the politicians at first, but we're still stuck? Or do you think that the politicians will actually move to make that happen at some point? Jordan, I see you shaking your head.
I've been working on that for the last 4 years. We did I did a campaign with Pusha T a couple years ago. Ty Dolla $ign. So we've been working on, since legalization even became a thing, we've been working on how do we get inmates in for cannabis out, and there is no easy answer to that. I think the more that it's talked about, the more that these governors are pushed. I think that's a part of it, but then I also think it's just time. I think, you know, there's too much money in the prison industry right now. You know what I'm saying? Say that we're going to let these people go. We're going to let, I shouldn't say these people, because it's white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever.
Yeah.
To release people, you know what I'm saying? And I also think, and I think the new 50 Cent show was a good show for people to watch, because the inmates are going to have to take over a lot of their cases. And the inmates are going to have to learn a lot of the laws and a lot of the practices that they can use, and then even who they have on the outside that can directly affect it. You look at what Kanye and Kim are doing for certain people. Everybody don't have a Kanye and a Kim, but that trickles down to the local politician thing I was talking about. Is if you get these young guys that are now coming into politics and have those state rep positions, and they're 29, 30, 31 years old, these are issues that ring true to them as well. So it's a lot easier to get younger politicians, on board than get these older white guys to free some of these prisoners. But that's going to be an ongoing issue. We're going to have to turn up the volume year by year on that. But
Vince, what do you think, Vince?
Yeah, I agree. I know in the state of Illinois, I think it was somewhere like 40,000, where they signed with decriminalize and stuff like that. But then also we just need to do more. So if you're going to release the less offenders, you want to be able to have a wraparound program for them. Just putting people out in the, out of jail, releasing them out in the community with no wraparound program, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be something that's really going to fail. And then if you think about it, with this COVID, what really brought to my attention was how fast Illinois, Chicago was getting the homeless people together, and all of a sudden they was putting them in houses. They was putting them in hotels. Did you know that? They was taking the homeless people off the street and putting them into hotels.
Not here, though.
They're doing it
Not here.
Well, I'm saying, but they doing it here. But what that tells you is that, we can build infrastructure, housing, communities for these people so they can get off the streets. And it took a virus for us to, actually, it took this virus for us to see a lot of things, for us to kind of sit back. And so we can really now look at the government, really start looking at these politicians, really start voting, because that's really important to put the right people in house, where we can get a lot of things done, and not because of a virus. Because of a virus, we're getting a lot of stuff done. But it took people dying, for this to happen. And that shouldn't happen like that.
And that's true. And the other thing I want to say too is I don't know how we help our prisons. I think Demi, can you put up, I think, is it Inglewood Barbie, her information? She's trying to get 6,000 masks for the inmates in Chicago. So Demi, if you could put that information up, I know it's on your Instagram page. So, I mean, I think we need to be doing that, in every city too, trying to help the inmate, at least with some masks and some sanitizing wipes, or just any little thing that we can do. I think we need to do that. And then go ahead. I see you, Jordan.
Even down to that, we have to find out what the process is to be able to get that amount of something into, and each jail is going to be different.
Right.
Well, even before the jail, we have to get it into the country. So first you need somebody in customs.
Yep.
So you need the support of either somebody in customs or the governor or somebody who can call, because in Chicago, it comes in the Midway and O'Hare. So we need somebody that can call them and say, do not seize these because we're using these for this.
And again, I know Inglewood Barbie. I think it's that communication of information. So if everybody is seeing, and this is an issue, man, with Chicago, Twister has something going on right now with the governor. So Twister's in. So if you have Twister as a bridge, instead of trying to figure out how to go over Twister to get another situation to get more masks in, why don't we all just funnel everything through Twister?
Twister's management don't call nobody back. That's why.
Well, I can make sure I can make sure Raw hit everybody back. Like that's not an issue. But again, that's what I'm saying.
I love you, by the way.
Certain people are going to pick up the phone for certain people, and they're going to move faster for certain people.
Right, but Jordan, do you hear what you're saying though too? If she wasn't on this so two things. Demi is putting in here that Inglewood Barbie has worked out a way to get the mask in the jail in Chicago. So that's that, for whatever that's worth. Okay, she put that in. But number two, if it just by happenstance, by God's stance, that you two guys are here together. What if she wasn't on here with you and she was trying to get Twister's manager? Now, the one thing that you did say that I do want to share is JB Prisker, because he already is wealthy. Thank God for that. He got his own private plane that he put on CNN. He snuck in so that the president didn't seize his product. But everybody don't have a Cuomo and a JB Prisker type of money and relationship and juice to do that. But You know, I applaud her because at the end of the day, we got to keep going and keep doing what we can do. Go ahead, guys.
Another way, and again, I'm going to always go back to communication and building these networks out. You got people that are making masks at home. I have a printer in Chicago named Bob, who's making masks. So if you can't go out of the country to get a shit ton of masks, it's about figuring out who's doing what. And you can probably go put 600 masks together just from independent people in the city that are crocheting them, or whatever they're doing. And I'm happy that you said that too, because people don't know that they can pick up the phone and call a person that has a person's number that'll answer their phone. And I think it's up to us as tastemakers or as the popular people or whatever to make sure that so I appreciate you even doing this so I can get that information out. Is a network isn't just going to the person that has the most light on. You can build a small renegade army out of the disenfranchised every single day. So if you just do your own research and find out like, oh, okay, well, I saw that this lady just made 50 masks. She may want to donate 30 of them to the jail. You have to go get that information. You have to go.
I think we're at a position right now, and I don't know. You guys can tell me I could be wrong. I feel like we're at a sinkhole that everybody is needing everything. So everybody's just trying to help get in where they fit in and help, because the nurses and doctors and the hospitals need it, the jails need it, the seniors need it. Look at all these nursing homes. That's a whole nother market that we forgot about somehow. We've literally had 100 people. Hold this 1 second. We've had 100 people overnight die in nursing homes, and the nursing homes have been piling the bodies up in the basement, in the rooms, in the freezer. Didn't even tell nobody. That's a whole nother market that we forget that we got great aunts and nieces, and it's just, we need so much help on every level. We didn't see this coming. But I don't want to leave Portia out. Portia, I want you to do me, if you want to say something on the inmate, and then, because I don't want to be disrespectful of you guys' time. Hey, I'm loving this, but I don't want to be disrespectful of y'all time. So, if you also want to have a wrap-up statement of encouragement or informational, something that you want to give like that as well. And then the inmate, we asked about the inmates. You didn't.
Really quick about the inmates. So there's a lady that I know, she does PR. Her name is Pamela Taylor. And she started a company or like a program called Manna. And she did an event last week with like Donald Lawrence and a few of the other mega pastors. And so she actually called me last night and was talking about a project that she wants to pull together to get masks, to have these mega churches and these mega pastors donating money, donating supplies, so that they can get them and then hand them out to the community, which includes the prisoners. So I think, we could just all connect and see where we can connect the dots, because we all have something we can bring to the table.
Right. And someone can give a little bit to her, a little bit to Inglewood Barbie, give a little bit to Twister's program to make sure that everybody, because I'm sure people got, everybody got somebody that they're trying to help. I'm trying to, and make sure that we do everything and we can help everybody on all different levels. But so now, what are your final words to help people that want to be in the cannabis industry? You can start with what you said in the beginning, that list for those people that came in late, how they can work in different areas of transportation. I think you and Vince said, and just different areas, period.
So I'll say that, then I'll also address really quick, because they go hand in hand. When someone asks, how do you learn so much about the cannabis industry? One, you need to know the industry or know about cannabis and what's required of it to know where you can fill those spaces in. One way of getting to know is to actually do. Like Vince has heard the story, but long story short, I dropped everything and moved to Oregon and moved into a 1-bedroom cabin. I left my 3-bedroom condo with my closet room and moved into this 1-bedroom cabin because this opportunity came up. It boils down to how bad do you want it and what are you willing to do to get it? What are you willing to give? What are you willing to sacrifice? And how hard are you willing to work? So those are only questions only you can ask, only you can answer. You know, if you have a family, you have to take those things into account. You know, if you have bills you have to pay and you don't have the luxury of not of just picking up and moving, you have to think about, okay, well, what can I do in my space? Which leads to learning about the cannabis business and all the aspects of the business and where what you do could fit in, or where the spaces are that you could fill. You know, smoking, glass is one thing, meaning bongs, pipes, things of that nature. Paper, the grow houses, the grow facilities, they need all kinds of things. So maybe if you learn what growers need, even if you aren't a grower, but you know what they need, you know what the lights are. You're staying on top of the newest lights. You're staying on top of the newest infiltration system. You're staying on top of the newest soil. You know, that's a place you could insert yourself. Learn how extracts are made. Someone's got to fix those machines when they break. You know, someone has to know how to clean those machines. Someone needs to provide the filters. Learn about dispensaries, what they need on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I told y'all what I want to do. I want to clean the money, so call me to clean up the money.
You might, that's a thing right there. Cleaning money might be one.
It's true. Hey, no better place to clean.
Hey. And then, ATMs. Is there a way you can get in the ATM game? Because we can't have banks.
Right.
Transportation, T-shirts, hats, pins. Because we have, in Chicago especially, we have a lot of summer, a lot of the festivals. So, they're going to be giving away tons of lighters and hats and key fobs. And, how do you get weed to the celebrities? I'm just going to be real right now. Like, how do you get weed to the celebrities when they come to town? Because they don't trust everybody.
They call one. They call a person or two.
We're gonna have a thing on the app here for them to.
But so but just really learn the different aspects, what they require, and then
this is wonderful.
That you can find your end.
Yeah.
All right, I love that. Thank you so much.
Listen? Who would have thought that sanitizing and masks would be the item that's selling right now? It's the hottest item on the market.
Put your product name on the mask. That's advertising. I'm just saying.
There you go.
We actually have our masks coming out soon, but they have our logo on them. So I was waiting for Jordan to go because I wanted you to do the final wrap. And where is Jordan? He must.
No.
There he is. Okay, wait. Okay, girl, what you got? We want to see it. What is that? What'd you change into?
Nothing.
Okay. You had a shirt.
No. This is just one of the shirts.
Okay.
But yeah, this is one of the shirts. No, just to feed off of what Portia was saying. It's finding out where your passion is in this. It can't just be about smoking weed, because it's so much more than that. Even now, when I smoke, it's more so to figure out where certain things need to change inside a certain product. So it's not even a really smoking for leisure thing anymore. But it's starting small conversations with other individuals that haven't done anything in the industry yet, that are looking to get in the industry. Finding people that are looking for things to invest in. Understanding top to bottom, just like me and my girlfriend were talking the other day about people that want to be movie stars. Nobody knows about the guy that just clicks the damn thing, or the guy that makes $100,000 a year to hold a boom mic. It's the same thing. In order to be successful, I'm gonna always say this: in order to be successful in any field, you're gonna have to do the same things. You're gonna have to identify the power players. You're going to have to identify what your passion is, and then just make your plan, right? Plan your work and then work your plan. That would be the biggest thing for me. And stop. If you're going to be a consumer, figure out a way to make some money.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great advice right there.
Period. Mm-hmm. Figure out any possible way to make some money in this, because if you're not trying to figure that out, then you're tripping. For real, because there's
like I said, I just read an article that said by 2027, this is going to be a $73.6 billion industry by 2027. We're $53 billion now, and by 2027 they're saying $73 billion.
We're about to see our first. We're about to see our first set of cannabis billionaires, and the crazy part is, one of them's a rapper. Burner's going to be a billionaire within the next 2-3 years, maybe, just off of the cookie brand itself.
I've been dying to ask.
It's the Gary Payton right here.
And so one last question. I saw that Ray J was doing something. So is he still in the market? I'm not being funny.
I don't know.
I just saw something.
He got the earplugs. He got the earplugs.
Crazy.
Okay.
Ray J is doing something in cannabis. Ray J doing something with everything, man. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw something on Instagram where he was like, I hired a scientist. I'm doing, cookies and gummies, and I was just wondering.
Yeah. That's everybody. That you should definitely, because a part of the licensing is you're now basically a cultivator. So you are a scientist at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you get certain licensing, it's your job to produce this product and to grow this product. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, the guys in the rap industry are going to link with their tech guys, you know what I'm saying, in certain areas, and then they're going to get their science guys for sure.
Right. Okay. All right. So Vince, give me your final words, and then after that, I'm gonna let you guys go enjoy your Sunday. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. It was so educational, and everybody, make sure you guys reshare this video out when you guys get off, and we put our social media coordinator has all you guys' information in there, and I'll send you guys a separate email with everybody's information so you guys can connect.
Because I need to get some product up to Portia ASAP.
Hey.
All right.
Well,
Well,
I just want to say that this has been really great. This is what it's all about. I think that it's important that we support each other, in this industry. I remember back, when you brought up the thing about Music Tap, and we was developing the app for your daughter, and we went down to Silicon Valley, and a room event, about 1,500 people, and me and my partner, we was the only people of color at the time, and so being able to see how this industry is embracing minorities, and minorities are getting a little bit more involved in it, getting the information out there. Excuse me. I think that's important. Everybody that tuned in.
Really quick, really quick, what Vincent just said, you got to get comfortable with knowing that it may just be one or two of you in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hear you.
You got to be comfortable with that.
You got to be.
That's all I want. I'm sorry.
And
no,
I just wanted I just wanted to say that, I want to shout out all the people that repost, the event that we put together in not even 24 hours.
I know, right? We
Candy, not even 24 hours. We put this event together.
Good job, great job.
And it was because of like-minded people. You got on board, Portia. Jordan got on board. Candy made the request, and here we are. So I want to give the kudos up to her, to you all, and to the people that reposted, the flyers and everything like that, because that's important. I was so pleased and happy for the people that I asked to repost. They did, you know what I'm saying? And we need to get more of that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's free advertisement. All we got to do is put it out there, support each other. That's it.
If you guys want to do anything else, if you want to do something else, let me know. I organize it for you. I'm the workshop queen. Y'all know that. I will put together a workshop before you can blink your eye. I will have it together. I will have it on 10 platforms, and I don't be playing.
So I would say we need to do this again, because last time I was in Chicago, I had a night where I just invited professionals from every facet I could think of, whether it was the entertainment industry, the cannabis industry. I had the guys from 9 Mag over, just to start creating small networks of power players. Instead of being like, yo, I'm a power player, but I don't have 5 or 6 other power players that I talk to every week.
Right.
That's something that I want to see change. Another thing, Vince, is I work with Complex Con. I work with the Cannabis Cup, all of that. these are going to be things that are going to start coming from Long Beach and LA to Chicago. So I want to have conversation with you about how we can start making our pitch decks to even go pitch to these guys out here that we need to start these small activations in and around Chicago to ultimately get to a point where we're doing Cannabis Cup there. Because if you look at Illinois,
hey, Portia, tell them don't be leaving us out. Don't make me come.
I actually did a legit trapping event at Complex Con. I came to Long Beach in October, and I did a legit trapping event with Al Harrington
out here.
Complex.
Right.
Yeah.
And what so now Complex Con is it was supposed to be in July,
right?
In Chicago. So that's what I'm saying is we need to be the bridge as LA or as California starts to make their extensions everywhere else. We need to be a part of that extension going back home. And a lot of that's going to start at these festivals. And even with product, you said you're in or no, I was in Seattle.
Oregon.
You're in Oregon. So I know we'll be up there. Me and Des will be up there as soon as this Corona thing.
I'm currently in Illinois because when this happened, I said I'm coming home. Case the end of the world happened, I'm be with my family.
Yes. So I want to definitely talk because we're getting right back into festival season. A3C, Lava, Art Battle. South by South, we have to start looking at all of that, and then I even have stuff like Sundance Film Festival.
And there's and I can't give like too much information, but there is going to be a football event this year in Vegas. That's all I can say until it's publicly announced. I cannot say that is an internal conversation, but there is going to be some event
together. There's no reason we're not doing a bunch of cannabis stuff around Summer League.
You know,
Summer League's not gonna I don't think Summer League's going to happen. I said a football event in the fall is being planned in place of the draft because Las Vegas lost a lot of money. I lost my clients, were supposed to be doing an event, some of my athletes or whatever, but so Vegas just was, they were supposed to have a floating stage. We were, the players, the draft players were going to be on a boat going to the Bellagio. They put out a lot of money that they lost for the draft. So they are trying to recoup some of that by doing another event. It's not public yet, so I cannot say what it is right now.
but it's
significant.
The other events around it, we can do a brunch.
Yeah,
we can do silent events. Yeah, those are the things that are going to really make the money because everybody that's going to be in town that can't get into those marquee events,
do something else.
Those B and C and D events. So I want to put that let's start putting that together as soon as you're ready.
Let me tell you, our event that we were doing here that would have been in 2 days. All top 32 draft picks were at the event. It was a closed event for the top 32 draft picks, their agents, their parents. And, and that's how I meet a lot of my clients when they get first drafted. Then, mom falls in love with me, dad falls in love, and they end up getting me to do it. And I tell people all the time, you got to meet these guys before, why they still draft these when they're still young. When they get real big, it's not that you can't get them, but they make it more difficult because now they got 20 people to navigate, even say hello to them. So so we were doing interviews with the draftees and everything. But anyway, go ahead.
I do want to just piggyback with what Jordan said. This is really so important, and this is something that I'm in the process of doing with Viola. But like he said, we got to be able to start getting these pitch decks together, start getting these proposals together, for we don't allow these industry folks to come into Chicago without bringing us to the table as well. Because we have something to say. We are influencers. We know the right people. We have the resources. So we just need to work together for when they say, okay, we're going to move into Chicago, then either I'm the point person or Portia, or somebody else is the point person, and we can kind of all work together. And,
and everybody should be on the same page, reading from the same sheet of music. Because let me tell you something: when you go into Atlanta, they got Atlanta sold up. You're gonna run into the same people, and everybody's getting their little cut, but they got it hooked up. They got gatekeepers in Atlanta. But Vegas here is a free for all. Chicago. That's why I'm trying to set up a consortium here for sports, so that when people come through, it's not just about life after sports. It's gonna. I don't care if it's basket weaving, swimming, baseball, football, soccer, because Vegas is getting ready to become the mecca. It's a lot going on here. People, I mean, we were talking about the boxing, the baseball. They're trying to bring a basketball team here in 3 years. In 3 years, it's going to be off the chain. And I'm telling you, this is going to be, and I'm trying to set this up, but you can't do it by yourself. I was just talking to Vince about that. I got a small team of 4 people, but we work around the clock, all the time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I'm telling y'all,
I'm here already. I'm here for
music, cannabis, sports, entertainment. They all connect together. They all intersect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, rappers want to be ball players.
Laughing at me. What you?
No, I'm not. Cause all you gotta do is say go. All you gotta do is say go.
Go.
Yeah. you got my number now. You got my number now.
Right.
So.
All right.
And hey, and you called me. It's like we got to talking about something else. You was like, hold on a second. I don't want to talk about that. I called you for something else.
Right, let's talk about this first. Then we'll go back to B.
Hey,
Your half suitcase will travel. I'll jump on the bus.
Me too.
I want to mention this to Vince, man. Keep an eye, and because I want to keep it in communication with you. I'm working on something with a certain somebody. I can't say who is working on this thing, but we're working on the first hip hop night for the Taste of Chicago.
Okay.
Which is an old from old to current. So
I doubt it better be the DJ though.
Well, you already Demi. Come on, man. Demi like Demi.
My daughter better be the DJ in there.
Demi is in the mix, though. That's the funny part. Demi in the mix. So
I flew her to DJ my event for NBA All-Star in Chicago. Jordan ended up hiring her, giving her new gym shoes and paying her. I said, wait, I flew you here for my event. You working for Jordan Brand for 3 days.
But look, I want to talk to you about it, because in case it doesn't happen, I still want there to be something major on that night. So it's
okay.
It's July 9th. So you got to think about how hurt the city gonna be if they cancel the Taste. So we got to be first in line for something that we're gonna put together, something that we're gonna do in case that doesn't happen. But in case it's still on, I want you to be on board.
Okay.
With that as well.
Definitely.
Jordan. Jimmy said,
hey, the beauty of it is we have a mayor. I don't know if y'all been following, but we have a mayor that's really about inclusion.
That's
really about building up the South Side, the West Side, and really doing a lot of things. So I believe anything that comes to Chicago, we can be involved.
The mayor brought it. So the mayor's the one that brought it up. So this is through there. Miss Lightfoot got my vote, my utmost respect, and she is forever in my favor for what she's legitimately attempting to do to the city, and she's doing it step by step. And then she's not forgetting the culture. Like, that's something that she's done now that I've never seen a mayor do. I've never seen a mayor hop in a truck with one security guard and ride through the city and tell people to go in the house. Like, that's the illest thing for me. She hasn't shied away from the memes or the jokes. She's embraced all of it. So
yeah,
anything that like I said, and I want you to come on board, because everybody, that's been the one thing I've been working on for the last 2 years in Chicago, is making sure that the rappers, the gangsters, the weed people, the young politicians, the club owners, the promoters, everybody knows everybody. Even if you only know one. You
guys don't know this, but our Athletes Who Give event that we did in February, we gave away over $3,000 to kids, cash. We gave them cash on that day, $500 to these kids. All they had to do was write an essay why they were in need or they were deserving. We didn't, as long as they were a student athlete, we didn't say, okay, you got to have a 4.0 grade point average, or we put no restrictions like that. On them. And
That's
their parents had to be there. But the thing about it is that we brought in pro athletes to help us, give away this money. And we just did that, on the love, because I said every time there's a major sporting event, nobody looks out for the kids that can't make it unless they know somebody. They can't get into these events. We still wanted to do something meaningful during NBA All-Star Weekend. So, that's one thing. The Athletes Who Give is a nonprofit that we're working on broadening it out. We're definitely going to, decide if we're going to stay in Chicago or we're going to go to Indianapolis next year. But I want to say this one thing. When my last broadcast, I said that we have got to vote. We got to vote. It's important this year more than ever. So one of the ladies on the broadcast said to me, she says, well, our young kids or our millennials have to see somebody that they want to vote for. And I said the difference between us and the powers that be that are in the White House right now is that they played a long game and we played a short game. We do not have an Obama this year. We don't have a young, savvy brother with a nice looking wife and they both lawyers. We ain't got that this year. So we've got to vote no matter what. We got to get out and vote. We can't put those stumbling blocks in front of us. I had a long talk with my daughter and all of her friends and said the same thing. I understand that voting for Obama was sexy and cute and hip, but we ain't got him. So we got to get out and vote, and we got to understand the big picture and the long game. And what I mean by the long game is the Republicans, and I don't want to get political, but I want to just say this one thing. It's a teaching moment, is that the Republicans their long game was getting conservative judges in place. And what did they do? When they were in, they blocked Merrick Garland when the Democrats were in, right? And then when it came time, they got Brett, y'all did everything y'all could to not get Brett Kavanaugh, but he still got in, right? Because they were playing a long game. Their goal while Trump was in office was to get those conservative judges in and the tax breaks. So you guys have got to think about what you want. All I'm saying is I don't care who you vote for. I really do, but I'm not going to say that. All I'm saying to you is you got to think about what you want your future to look like in the next 8 years, not just the next 4 years. And this is the year to determine that. So I don't care what nobody looked like. I don't care what they did when they were 20. I don't care what their wife looked like. Y'all got to play the long game. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Make sure you vote. Make sure everybody around you, if you have to take them, drag them, kicking, screaming, mail in, crayon. I don't care. Y'all got to make sure I may not get this opportunity again. So make sure y'all vote, and everybody around you, don't let them tell you no nonsense. And on that note, you guys have been amazing. And Jordan, I know you said you tell me you guys schedule, I'll arrange it. Now that y'all know how to get in, it'll be easier the second time around, and we can change the subject up and talk about entrepreneurship.
Send me the template. Send me the template for what you want it to be, and I'll reach out to people and then have people so we'll have a week. We can plan 4 weeks out of people.
Let's do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
excited. Let's get it done. All right, guys. Everybody say what you need to say before I click on. I love you guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
It was great. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right.